is focusing a lot on making our Drishti soul conscious. And I was just thinking about why Baba is emphasizing so much on seeing everyone as a brother soul. Baba says whenever you are talking to somebody, you are sharing knowledge with somebody, you have to keep looking in the center of the forehead and hold that in your awareness that this is a soul that I am talking to, a brother soul, and I'm sharing the knowledge of Baba. And Baba says that if you practice this, then your stage of soul consciousness also will get better and better. Now, I would just share whatever was coming in my mind about this. So you see that Baba is today urging us to look at everyone as a soul and as a soul brother. But what happens when I don't do that? Okay, so when I'm not making this conscious effort to focus my drishti and sit in the awareness that the one in front is a brother soul, then what happens? So what happens is, you see, whenever you see someone, then your mind starts creating thoughts and feelings by association. So there is a very simple law that our mind thinks by association. So you see that I, the soul, have had a very, very long journey. And in that long journey, for 63 births, I have had body conscious vision, body conscious attitude, and I have trained my drishti to look at gender, age, and that drishti is vicious, and that drishti is so we have had so many memories in so many incidents, and there is a lot of trauma that the soul is carrying. So all of that is there. So whenever we are in front of someone, some soul or some situation, then our drishti is colored by our smriti. So whatever memories I am carrying, whatever is in my memory track, starts coloring my drishti. Now, let's say there is a soul who has been through a communal strife. So there was a communal problem and it went for so many years, and then that soul has been in that situation for many years, and maybe in the last birth or this birth or whatever. But then that soul will carry a bias or a prejudice against that community, because that's there in the memory track. And then when you see someone, you will see them as that of a different community, and all that discomfort, all that maybe negative feelings also will start emerging whenever you see somebody from that community. So when you look at somebody, you start looking at the religion they practice, you start looking at the gender, you start looking at the age, you start looking at the educational qualifications. So all of that will, so we have certain prejudice for or against all of these things, and all that we are carrying in the form of smriti start working. So let's say if I am listening to Baba's Murli, but I have gender bias. So let's say I think that I am a female and all women are good and all men are bad. So if I have this bias, then if somebody comes and sits before me and that is a soul in a male body, then what is my drishti towards them? So this is a bad person because this is a man. So look, just think about how much our drishti and attitude is colored by our memories. And because we souls have been on a very, very long journey, so we are carrying various prejudices of various kinds. So prejudice against the way people look. So maybe in my past births I have had a bias against people who look like Mongolians, or that kind of that face and that feature. And then now when I see a person having those features, then I immediately have certain feelings which are based on what I'm carrying in my memory track. And this is a very simple law which is called the mind thinks by association. So we have we have an embedded smriti, we have a long memory track inside us, and all of those smritis are there, and they start getting activated whenever you see somebody, and whenever you meet somebody, whenever you talk to somebody, or maybe even in this birth, if I have had a bad interaction with you some days back and today you come, then when you are sitting in front of me, I will carry that memory that this is a person who is rude and they misbehaved, and then that memory will be a part of my attitude and drishti. So all these things we are carrying in our inner world, and the soul not only is influenced by the look, the gender, the religion and other stuff, but even vibrations. So we carry our associations with vibrations also. We carry our associations with weather, with geography, with places. We have all these associations. So you see, there are some people who would say that when it gets cloudy, I feel very sad, or I feel very discomforted, not physically but mentally also when it rains. So all of these things are associated with their memory being, their memory getting triggered by that weather. So in that kind of a weather, they have created some discomforting memories, and that soul is carrying. So in that particular weather, that will get triggered. Now all of that we are carrying inside. Now the thing is, whenever there is an incident or there is an event where the soul takes hurt, or wherever you create feelings of hurt or sorrow or fear, so basically it is always a feeling of hurt and sorrow which first the soul takes. So let's say I was expecting something from someone, and then they did not fulfill my expectation. Then what happens? I take sorrow. Yes, I take sorrow that this did not happen, and I'm very sad and I'm feeling bad. So I take that sorrow. Now, when I take that sorrow, what is the immediate thing I do? I block my love, peace, and happiness. So, you know what we call trauma. So, all the trauma that the soul is carrying inside is blocking the natural flow of the natural qualities of the soul. So, I, the soul, am capable of being peaceful, loveful, happy, joyful, pure anyway and all the time. But whenever, I become body conscious and I have a certain expectation, and that expectation is not met, then I take hurt, I take sorrow, and then I start blocking my state of love, peace, and happiness. And I have done that for so many births. So, this body conscious programming that it should be like this. So, body consciousness tells you that it should be. So, a father should be like this, a mother should be like this, a child should be like this, a teacher should be like this, the world should be like this. So, this body conscious programming is very different from the knowledge that we are getting. So, the knowledge tells you that it is what it is. It shouldn't be otherwise, it wouldn't be otherwise. But when we are body conscious, we use this thought process a lot, which says this should be like that and that should be like this. So, this kind of a programming, when from Dwapar Yuga we start becoming body conscious, then this programming makes us, create expectations and create disappointment in every step of the journey. Yes, so I am disappointed because my father was like this, my mother was like this, my surrounding was like this, my school was like this, my education was like this, and we are disappointed for several reasons. Why? Because of that expectation which is coming from a body conscious thought process. And whenever we are disappointed, whenever we are hurt, whenever we are sorrowful, then what we did was we blocked our energy of experiencing peace, love, happiness. So that programming told us that now that that expectation is not fulfilled, you cannot be happy, you cannot enjoy, you cannot be peaceful, you cannot so you cannot again, so people say, I have been betrayed in love, I cannot love anymore. So that kind of, when you think you are betrayed, because basically you are not betrayed by people, you are betrayed by your expectations. But then whenever there is this feeling of betrayal by people or situations, because in a body conscious world you are living in your own world and you have your own stupid expectations about things, then you feel that sense of betrayal. And whenever there is this sense of betrayal, then you start blocking your energy of peace, love, happiness. And because of that, we have come to this stage where the soul is now empty of all the qualities of the soul, because these qualities, the purity, the peace, the love, the happiness, the bliss, the power, all these states which is my natural stage, is now not available to me because of a simple law: if you don't use it, you lose it. Okay, so because we didn't use them, we lost them. Now what happens is that vicious cycle continues. So whenever we see someone, we we are in a situation or there is a vibration, again that memory of having negative thoughts or negative feelings, it starts getting triggered. And then what happens is my attitude, my perception is again negative, and I'm again blocking my energy. Again, I'm blocking my experience of peace, happiness, love. Now, when I'm again blocking it, then just think about what will happen at the end of this journey. Even if I call myself a Brahmin today, if I keep doing that, if I don't train my drishti, my attitude, and if my old memories keep working and I keep responding and reacting in that old manner, then still my virtues will not come into action. And every time I come into interaction with a circumstance, with a soul, then all my negative sanskars will be active. Now, this is why Baba today says that what you have to do is you have to train your drishti. So, before your subconscious or unconscious memory gets activated, hold this conscious memory that this is a soul. So, so there is a subconscious which gets activated when you see someone. So before that, so this is like striking that arrow. So, be very fast enough to bring to your awareness that this is just a soul before something else gets triggered. So let's say I didn't have a good relationship with my spouse for many years, and then whenever I see that spouse, all those memories come up, and then all those feelings which I created in those circumstances, they start to emerge. And then my karma or my drishti is flawed, and that is creating my future fortune and sanskar. So what I have to do is, before that body conscious smriti gets activated, I have to be ready and very prepared with my soul conscious drishti that the one in front of me is a soul. And Baba says you cannot practice it so whenever you practice, the practice is done in favorable circumstances. So, whenever you are practicing, let's say, cricket, so you don't choose a very difficult field to practice. You practice in a very leveled field and with good players, and they are bowling according to you, batting according to you. So you always practice in mild and favorable circumstances, and after you build that strength, you apply it in difficult circumstances. So, whenever there is this karam bandhan, where you have had a lot of karmic give and take with some, in some situation, or with some sanskar, you've created some sanskar very deeply. So maybe for 2-3 births together or several births, you have perpetuated that cycle of hateful drishti. So, that hateful drishti is a very pakka sanskar within you. Now, when that hateful drishti starts working, it's very difficult to change it. So you cannot just with knowledge, you just can't bring that into your awareness that this community is not a community, it's anyways a soul. You cannot train yourself that there. So what you have to do is, you have to be ready with your soul conscious drishti. So Baba says, practice it. So when you're practicing it, so I have done this exercise. So when I used to travel by metro, I used to just sit there for the 45 minutes journey and just see everybody as a soul. So, whenever I saw somebody, all these people around me, I used to just practice, that this is a soul and that is a soul and this one is a soul, and just see it's a star shining in the forehead and nothing else. So, I used to practice this a lot, and Baba says you have to keep practicing. So whenever there is a crowd, or you're working in an office, or you're doing seva, so hold that vision. So where there is no conflict, where there is no other feeling getting triggered, at that time just keep practicing all through the day. I am a soul, this is a soul. So keep doing that. And then what happens, whenever you have a karmic account and that karmic account is getting triggered, that some sanskar, some smriti that you are carrying from the past is triggering a sanskar in the present, and you are in front of a soul or a situation and you are not able to hold good feelings, at that time this practice will help you. So this is why Baba says keep practicing this soul conscious attitude and vision in favorable circumstances. And I think that, whenever you are in the class, so even when you're on Zoom, so when you're sitting, so just see everybody is a soul sitting. So when you can see pictures, see everybody on the camera, so who is that one sitting? So that's a soul sitting in the class. This is a brother's soul. We are deity souls sitting together and taking the class. So just train your awareness in this. And this is very, very helpful, because when you start doing that, then you will be in a position to stay peaceful, loveful, happy, come what may. So even when there is an old karmic settlement, and that karmic settlement is triggering your negative sanskars, you will still be able to hold your loveful drishti and peaceful drishti in that circumstance, or in the face of somebody with whom you have had a long association of this vicious cycle of negativity. So this is how you do it. And then Baba says that, and it is scientifically proven also today that it is drishti se srishti. So, and in science, this drishti se srishti is called the observer effect. And science today says that when you are in a room and you walk out of the room and another person walks into that room, then the atomic movement of the room shifts. So how your attitude, your vision is changing the atomic movement of the room. So think about how much influence our drishti has. And Baba says, when you are able to detach from your old memories, when you are able to stop your subconscious from working, and you are able to hold that, that vision that this soul is a peaceful, loveful, powerful soul, then that soul will also become aware of its state of peace, love and power. So this will also, whenever you are sharing Gyan with somebody also, so when you're sharing Gyan with somebody, so let's say you are sharing Gyan with somebody who is physically challenged, okay? And in your mental programming, you don't have respect for the physically challenged, you have mercy for the physically challenged. So then you are telling that soul that you are a powerful soul, but inside you are saying, oh, bichara soul, poor soul. So then whatever you are saying and whatever you are thinking inside is not in, in tandem with each other. And then the soul will not receive power from you. They will feel a sense of you looking down on them. And mercy is a very body conscious act. So compassion is spiritual. But when you say, oh bichara, that is not compassionate. So that is a very body conscious way of thinking. So when you are thinking this is a bichara, then you are not looking at them as a soul and as a powerful being. You are looking at them as somebody who are powerless. And then if you look at them as somebody who is powerless, then you make them powerless. Similarly for children, so if you look at the physical age of somebody and you think that this is a fool, so children are foolish. So you have this programming, children are foolish, then you are telling them you are a knowledgeful soul, but inside it's there, you fool, you are not knowledgeful. And then that child is getting the vibration that you are treating them as a fool. So this is the problem. So this is why when elder people are talking to children, the children are feeling humiliated. And they think that this person doesn't get me, and they are not getting that I'm smart enough and I understand. So that soul is not getting that vibration from you, because you are holding in your buddhi that this is a fool. Or maybe some child shared with you that I made wrong friends and I got into trouble. So then you hold in your buddhi that this person is making wrong decisions all the time. And then whenever you are talking to them, you are not seeing that this soul is capable of good discernment and decision making. You are holding in your buddhi that you are a bad decision maker, and that is the vibration you are sending to them. And if you told somebody 5 times you're a bad decision maker, they would feel humiliated, and that is the same feeling they have when you hold that drishti for them. So this is why Baba says that all the knowledge is about putting back the soul in its swaman, that you're peaceful, loveful, powerful, happy, blissful, knowledgeful. And only when you have soul conscious vision can you help that soul realize who they really are. But if you don't have soul conscious vision, then you will not be able to give them the vibration that you're actually peaceful and pure and powerful. And then they wouldn't get that message. So Baba says, practice a lot that I am a soul and this person is just a soul, despite all the sanskars they have. This is a child of the Almighty and this is a Master Almighty. And you have to practice this enough so that when you sit and apply it, so in a very neutral setting, you have to practice it so that in a challenging setting you can apply it. And this is a very, very, very important lesson that Baba is giving us today. And if our sense of self is not soul conscious and my drishti is not soul conscious, then I don't know if we can do any seva. Because seva is not a verbal act alone. and majority of our communication is non-verbal. So Baba says, Baba looks at every Brahman soul as a sevadhari, and only when our vibration, attitude and vision is soul conscious can we become a sevadhari. So Baba says this practice will give you two benefits. One is your state of soul consciousness will be very stable until the end, and you will be using your your virtues of love, peace, happiness in action. And when it's time to leave the body, then you will be in a very full state, because you're using your qualities, you're not blocking them because of all those memories carrying inside you. And then the second thing is you will be able to do a lot of seva and bring other souls to self-realization through your soul conscious drishti. And then the most important element of this is, while doing all of this, you remember Baba. Because when you remember Baba, then, because you see, we have always done everything with ego. So when you start doing all of this thing also, if you don't remember Baba, if you don't remember the Karan Karavan Har, then you can even have, the ego of spirituality. So you will think, I'm very soul conscious, and that's also the end of soul consciousness. So always remember Baba. So Baba has taught me this. Baba is giving me this. So whatever, if I am peaceful also, I took it from Baba. I was not peaceful when I came. So I took it, I'm taking it, I'm doing it in remembrance of Baba. And when you hold Baba in your remembrance, so supreme soul consciousness is a necessary condition for soul consciousness. So only in remembrance of Baba can you remember yourself. Otherwise, you will start applying all the knowledge in a very body conscious way. And then Baba says, also hold Baba in your buddhi when you're giving the knowledge of the soul to the other. Because when you hold Baba in your buddhi, just like when you're soul conscious, they become soul conscious. Similarly, when you remember Baba while you are giving the Gyan, they will also have their buddhi connected with Baba. And ultimately, you cannot nurture them. They have to be nurtured by Baba. So it's very important that their buddhi's yoga is connected with Baba. And that will happen when you are sharing knowledge in remembrance of Baba. And when you remember Baba, so I remember there was this one brother and he shared a very nice experience. He said that so he went to a center to take the course, and he was sharing about a time which was many years back, and there were not many sisters in the center, and there was Shiv Jayanti going on. So at that time everybody was busy. So one day he went to the center, so he was told that there is nobody to give you a course right now. So what you do is you come tomorrow. So the next day he went, and that day also, all the sisters were on seva. So there was nobody to give him a course. So the one who was telling him all this was a Mata. And that Mata was also in Gyan, but she was an unpad Mata. She was not educated, and she did not have the confidence that I can give the course. But when this thing started continuing for 4 days, then on the 4th day, that Mata thought, why don't I give him a course? This brother has been coming for 4 days, and then so the brother for 4 days, he kept insisting on the Mata, yes, that why don't you share something, why don't you share? But she was a little hesitant, but on the 4th day she said, okay, let me. So then she sat, and she did not know any, she was not very good at sharing Gyan verbally. So she just told a few things like, I'm a soul and we have man, buddhi, sanskar. But she kept doing it in remembrance of Baba, and her eyes were filled with Baba's love and that, that sweetness and that peace that comes when you remember Baba. And that brother, he could understand that he has to stick to this place because there is something that this Mata is experiencing which he is not. And then that journey continued, and that brother is a senior brother in the Yagya today. So you see that when you are in remembrance of Baba, then even what your Drishti can do what words even cannot do. So sometimes you share so much of knowledge with somebody and that person doesn't get anything, but when you are in Baba's remembrance, when you are in love with Baba, and when you share that with the soul, then the soul knows that there is something here which I need to seek and find. And then Baba pulls their buddhi and Baba takes them forward. So that is, so these are three things you have to take care. So first is be soul conscious, be in Baba's remembrance, and then soul conscious drishti for the other. So this is something. And then today in the blessing, Baba underlines that you have to pay attention to the foundation, which is Amrit Vela. So Baba says Amrit Vela is the foundation, and just like when you put a train right on track in the beginning, then it takes a smooth journey. Similarly, if you align yourself in your soul conscious state and in Baba's remembrance in the morning, in Amrit Vela, then all through the day, your actions will be all right. So you will receive Baba's help and Baba's sustenance all through the day. So don't miss Amrit Vela. So, if you know how to construct everything, but you don't know how to lay the foundation, then you can never be a good engineer. So you need to understand that the foundation is first. Even if I understand all the Gyan, even if I understand all the do's and don'ts, they don't work if I don't remember Baba in the morning. So I have to pay attention to the foundation.